Hello everybody and welcome back to On Point HQ, and a sort of follow-up to the last video. So the last video I put up was all about how I go about making very simple additions to bolt action figures using bits and pieces of other kits. So for this one, this is a bit more, it's kind of taking it a step further. So what am I talking about? Well, in this video I'm going to be looking at how I've replaced metal crew from the support options of a project that I'm working on. So if you've seen any of my other videos, for my current bolt action project is I am working on a relatively small Polish Airborne brigade project, and I've really enjoyed working on this. And recently I picked up the British Airborne starter box for a few more figures and also for the support options in there as well. But I always knew I was going to replace the metals with the plastics. So as you can see in front of you, I've been a busy chap and I've pretty much replaced all of them. So what I thought I'd do is just show you exactly the changes that I've made, the conversions, the kit bashes, etc. Then I'm going to go away, I'm going to paint them all up and base them, come back and show you exactly how they look. So let's get straight into this. So the first support option that I'm going to show you, or that I worked on, was the medium mortar team. So people always ask me, Steve, why do you replace perfectly good metal miniatures with plastics? Now it's just because I like working with plastic miniatures. This is not a secret, and I talk about this on many videos, and every week on the Plastic Crack podcast I somehow talk about how I don't like metal miniatures. So this is a little bit different as well though, because this is a scale thing. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So this, I'm just going to mess with the camera here and see exactly what we're doing. Right, so this is one of the metal miniatures that comes with the medium mortar, and it's a good figure. I mean, it looks nice, but it's just not for me. Now the reason for this is, one, I like everything in plastics, and two, the scale's a bit out. So these metal miniatures were made before the plastic boxes were introduced, so the scales are slightly out. So now, I'll show you an example of this now. So this is the replacement that I've made. As you can see, the scales, the plastic's a bit more chunkier, and it's gonna fit in with the rest of the chaps in the project. So let's have a look what I've got here. So this is all made from the Airborne box, but I've tried to use the original figures as a guide to how I want them to look. I'm just going to run through it very quickly how I made this. So the left arm is from, there's an arm that's pointing in the in the Airborne box. So off came the pointy hand, on went a grippy hand, and then there wasn't any sort of mortars spare that I could find. So what I've used is a shell from the Piat, chopped the top off there, just filed that smooth. And the right hand is one that's normally, when you position it, he's normally reaching inside of his ammo pouch. I wanted to make it look as if he's put his hand over his ear, and that's worked quite well. Again, very simple conversion, not even a kit bash as such, just a conversion piece, but it works really well. So quite close. I mean, you can really see the scale there. That's what I'm aiming for. So that was the first one that I did. So up next was this chap. So he's sort of hunkered down, hands over his ears. It's a bit noisy here, lads, in the middle of combat. So I needed to make something that looks like him. Now, getting the hands over the ears like that, I didn't want to spend. I mean, I could probably do it. I just want to spend too much time doing it. So I went for an alternative version, and this is the alternative version. Again, 99% from the plastic Airborne box. So I've added a pair of binoculars into his left hand. Now what I wanted to make him look as he was doing is he was shouting instructions over the sounds of the din of battle, the sound of the mortar, etc. So his right hand is actually from it's from an arm in the US Marine Corps box. It's normally gripping a rifle or a BAR. I just thought it looked quite, try to get as close to his mouth as possible, as if he's shouting to make himself heard. But again, really simple conversion, that. No time at all. But another crewman. And the last one is a guy holding some ammunition for the mortar. Again, nothing wrong with the figure. The figure itself is quite nice, just not for me and what I'm after. So here's my alternative, and I just think it looks so much better. Bit more work involved in this one. So the arms are from the British Commonwealth Infantry box, but the hand, the pointy hand, is recycled from the guy from the first figure. So never throw anything away. And all I did there, I've tried to hide the join as best as I can with a bit of green stuff. I want to tidy that up, put a bit of paint on there. You never notice. So that's the alternative, and as you can see, you can certainly see the size difference there. But they are the new mortar crew, all built for, mainly from the bits and pieces in the plastic Airborne box, with a few, from other kits. So up next was the medium machine gun team. Now this was a bit more of a challenge, and we'll start off with the actual gun. Now, yeah, as you can see, problem straight away. I wasn't able to replace him because he's the operator is attached to the gun, and short of cutting away and hacking and probably losing a couple of fingers in the process, I wasn't comfortable in removing that. But I've made a couple of changes. So the first thing I did was I removed the rucksack and put a plastic one on, because the original one looked like a pencil case. It was really quite small, which is in keeping with the rest of these figures. But so what I did as well is, and you'll see why in a second, is I've taken some plastic bullets from the Grenadier box and added them to a German ammo box. It's a bit basic, it's a bit rudimentary, but once it's all painted up and based and hidden with a bit of clump foliage and some static grass, you're never going to know. So not much work done on that, but you'll see now why I replaced the dude holding the bullets, because they snapped clean off. Another reason why I don't like metal miniatures. And this miniature is tiny. He's really pretty small, so he's not going to fit in. So by just attaching the bullets to there, I've eliminated this figure completely from the equation. So it was just then a case of building two more crew. So the next one is the most complex of all the replacements that I've made. He's obviously going to be attached to a base when I'm painting him. But he's a prone figure, and the more eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that the British Airborne don't have plastic prone figures. And that's because this is from the US Marine box. So the body is actually a US Marine lying down. And what I've done is I've used arms from the British Airborne box, Airborne head, and just tried to hide the body using equipment. The gaiters aren't as, so the gaiters on here are a bit bigger than the British ones, but I think once they're painted up you won't really notice. So this did involve quite a bit of work. So he's got binoculars there. I've taken the strap off as well. Now that hand is from, I think it's a German Grenadier, and you can see him, he's sort of gripping the binoculars, sort of. But yeah, that was the most complex of all of them. When I come to do the army showcase for these guys, I have done a sniper using a different lying down body, but I'll get to that in a future video. But that was the second crew member for the medium machine gun team. Like I said, a bit more involved. And the third one is, again, there's flash all over this. I didn't even bother cleaning this up. As you'll see, nothing wrong with the miniature at all, apart from the flash. It's a bit too small for my liking. So, in keeping with trying to maintain similar poses, look at that. That's almost bob on. That look, pointing, Sten gun. Yeah, as you can see, you can certainly see the scale, the size difference for these chaps. Again, no real work put into that. It was just a standard Airborne straight out the box. So there we go. So there are the medium machine gun crew bits and pieces. So up next is my favourite weapon in bolt action, which is the flamethrower. Love it, terrifying weapon. If you can get it to work, that is. Anyway, this is the one that comes with the Airborne box. Again, nothing wrong with the figure, it's just a bit small and not to my liking. So everyone, if you see, and I've made quite a few videos where I've kit bashed flamethrowers before, and no exception, I've done it again with this. So as you'll see, he's got a quite distinctive sort of round tank on his back, and this is the one I've made. Again, this was took 10-15 minutes work to do this. So the round tank on his back is actually it's from Forge World, and I think it's a landmine from an Imperial Guard upgrade kit that I bought many moons ago, and I found it lying around in one of my bits boxes, and I thought that would work quite well. The tubing, the piping there is from a Revell helicopter model that was given last year. The bits and pieces from it worked quite well as a tube, and the firing mechanism to the nozzle is just a cut down Sten gun. Again, not much work put into that at all. And his assistant, again, not much work. He's just a bog standard airborne trooper. But we have a flamethrower team with very little work at all. So that's, oh, there's the original as well. So that's the original flamethrower team. As you can see, nothing wrong with it. Just not for what I'm working towards with this project. So what I'm going to do now is go away and probably spend the next couple of nights painting these chaps, and then I shall come back presently and show you what I've done. Yes, so I shall see you all in a little bit. Well, in the video it will be in a little bit. For me, it'll be a couple of nights of working on these, but I shall see you all in a little bit. So bye bye for now. Hello and welcome back, and that's it. So all three have been finished. Much metal has been listened to, much coffee quaffed, but I've finished all three. So what I thought I'd do is just show you exactly what they look like now. So at the start of the video, it was just the sort of the raw kit bash, the raw conversions, but now we're going to see them completely finished and how they're going to be looking on the tabletop. So what I'm going to do is just mess with the camera. And we're going to start off with this. So this is the medium mortar team. As you can see, all those guys are all fully painted up now. I think they look really quite nice. So this is a completely new crew, completely kit bashed, completely converted. There's no in fact the only metal on here is the mortar. The rest of it plastic crew. So my usual rather scenic looking base there, made from my favourite material in the world, corkboard. But this was the first one that I finished, and I posted pictures of this on the a couple of Facebook groups, the Bolt Action Forum and also the Plastic Crack podcast. But that is the first one. So that is the medium mortar team. I'm very, very happy with how that turned out. So the next one was a bit more extra work, and I'm not entirely happy with this one, and I'll point out in a second why. So this is the completed medium machine gun team. So as you can see, I've based it in the same way as the medium mortar, just to give it that sort of consistent themed look. So as in the earlier part of the video, the only kit bashes on here are the guy lying down on the left and the pointy shouty guy on the right. The only metal on here is the middle dude, and that's the guy firing the machine gun. And this is where I'm not overly entirely happy, because that scale is out. I know from 3 feet away you're not going to be able to notice, but it's still there for me. I know everybody wasn't the same height, but and the figure it painted up quite well as well. As to the prone guy, you'd never be able to tell that was, apart from the bottom of his smock isn't hanging down, but that's a trifling detail, because I think that lying down dude looks quite good. You wouldn't think he was based on an American Marine prone body. But that's the medium machine gun team. Like I say, not overly happy with the size of the guy in the middle, but what can you do? it's still going to do a job. And from 3 feet away, you're not going to notice. Maybe it's just me being overly critical as normal, but that's the medium machine gun team completed. And the last one that I worked on was the flamethrower team. This has turned out really quite well. So that's the team. This is just a display base. They're just stuck on there. Obviously they can be removed I'm not going to be using that in game. But let's have a look at how the actual flamethrower turned out. So there we go. When you compare that to the metal one, I actually think mine's a bit better. Mine's kit bashed. Yeah, you can tell it's a Sten gun. But again, 3 feet rule and all that. But I think that's worked really well. And again, it wasn't a very, very difficult conversion or kit bash in the slightest. And this guy here is just a plain airborne trooper. But that is it. So that's the flamethrower. Always love to include a flamethrower in my bolt action armies where I can. But yeah, that's it. So I think they've turned out really quite well. There's a bit of a fair. I wouldn't say a fair bit. I mean, they were quite simple kit bashes, quite simple conversions that, you know, didn't really take a lot of time at all. The most complex one, like I mentioned, was clearly this guy here with the lying down. It took me quite a while to source how I was going to pose him. The different arms, let's give him a new hand, but I think it worked quite well. So what's up next? Well, going through the rest of the starter army, I found that there's a light mortar team in there as well. So I'm going to be making myself a light mortar team, and also there's a 6-pounder gun. That's not going to be from my Polish Airborne. What I'm going to do is model this so I've got enough models that I can do both the Polish and British Airborne. So the 6-pounder gun is going to be for my British Airborne, and that's going to be another market garden project set in and around Arnhem. But there we go. So again, more simple bolt action additions to your squads or your team weapons, where you can, as long as you've got the miniatures and the bits and pieces, you can certainly kit bash crew for them. And again, I've done this because I like plastic in my army. I like the whole army to be made of plastic. But scale-wise, yes, this is definitely why I've done it. I think the guy firing the medium machine gun certainly puts that view into perspective. Let's put it that way. But overall, a really, really enjoyable project to work on. Working on these kit bash crew. Up next, I'm going to do a few more figures. I'm almost finished on the bolt action poles at the moment, and I hope to do a showcase for them in the next couple of weeks. But hope you found the video interesting. If you've got any comments or questions about this or bolt action or gaming in general, just leave them down below, and I'll certainly respond to all comments and questions. But as always, thanks for watching. Do take care, may your dice roll well, and I'll catch you all in the next video. So bye bye for now.